and gentlemen, I'll be acting as senior member of the board based on time of experience. I'd like to call the meeting to order. Now, first thing I'd like to do is I'd like to go ahead and open in prayer, please. If you would, bow your heads. Dear Heavenly Father, Lord Jesus, we humbly come before you, Lord, with a gracious and a grateful heart, for you've presented an opportunity for us to, Lord, to lift up our community, to lift up our fellow citizens, and we ask you, Lord, that any decisions, any questions, any thoughts that are brought up, first and foremost, we lay before you, and then we lift up our citizens and our community first, because, Lord Jesus, we're here to be servants to them. And I just pray up unto you that all decisions are made thoughtfully and thoroughly, just discussed and well planned, and that your blessing would be laid down upon it. We give these prayers and requests in your name, in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Council members, if you would, please, we can go ahead and start by reviewing minutes of last month.
That's fine. That'll be great. There's two more over there.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lieutenant.
There's two more over there if you want, just in case, over by the computers. If you don't mind. Thank you. I appreciate that. That'll be all right.
Okay. It has been moved and seconded that we accept the minutes of last month's meeting. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries as unanimous for accepting the printed minutes from last meeting.
We'll talk about, he asked me about Healthy Master Living Plan. See where it goes about it on F.
Okay.
I can do that really quick.
Until our mayor gets here, on our agenda, it's identified as F on our agenda, the Healthy Living Master Plan meeting that is scheduled for April 30th at 7 p.m. Jennifer has some information for us.
So basically the trails and it's mostly over the trails, but there's also a part of Reynolds Park over in Lincoln and a couple other things like a splash pad. I'm trying to think of what isn't under trails and sidewalks on that plan. But basically all of those things for Lincoln County, it's a master plan for all of those. You can take that and go write a grant. It's the one I've been working on for a little over a year. And so that'll be a meeting to kind of unveil that plan, and then with the hopes if both city councils and the county commission desires to adopt that as the master plan for that. So if anybody can come to that would be good. And then there will be a book with all those in it that will be presented to council should be ready for the next meeting in May.
For each of the communities.
Mm-hmm.
Plan.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I will relinquish my seat to the mayor.
For my tardiness.
It's okay. Steve, the minutes have been moved and accepted. And we just discussed F on our agenda. Jennifer informed us about the Healthy Living Master Plan meeting, April 30th. Okay. And that is going to be in Sylvan, correct?
Well, that's the thing that I do not have.
Still kind of up in the air.
Is a place.
That's
so
the way I understand it.
I will let everybody know.
Okay.
I'll send an email out. And it should be, I'll put it on the board and it should be in the paper as well.
Okay.
All right. Fair board.
Basically, just come down to, I guess we're going to have the ranch rodeo next weekend, but there's been some talk amongst us that what we'd like to do down there is maybe make that arena a little bigger. It's kind of tight for doing the ranch rodeos and that kind of stuff in. And
making it 60 feet longer.
You're just gonna extend the length?
Would you keep the width the same?
Yeah,
Okay.
width is fine. The length.
Gonna move both sides or just one?
Probably just one.
Okay. North or south?
We're thinking north. There's actually not much room on that end, but that's kind of, leave that south side more.
Yeah, if you go to the south, you're looking at your
Yeah.
entrance.
Cutting that entrance off.
Where are the power lines buried at to
On
get
south
to the
end.
lights? Are they outside of the existing arena?
Yeah, on the south side.
Okay.
That's another concern.
Think you'd have to mess with them or?
No, not if we go to the north end.
Okay.
And everything with the softball field should be just fine because, there's enough distance in between, shouldn't there be?
Well, if you're thinking 60 and divided by 2, 30 each way, or are you going to go the whole way to the north, you think?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Yeah,
We got that
just go
power line
60
and
feet
stuff out there. I
straight.
just can do it that way.
I don't know that would bother them.
I don't think it shouldn't bother anything.
Get some
they
spillover
can
We
say-
kind of talked about putting some lights up down there, but might put that on
It might help.
hold until we do the expand the arena, if that's
Mhm.
possible. So. And it would give us a little extra room during the derby to have some extra space inside the arena. We wouldn't make the pit that big. We don't need it that big for the derby down there. So. Which wouldn't be a bad thing.
Anybody have any other questions or thoughts? I guess, so in essence, you're basically going to pluck up the north side and extend the east and west
Yeah,
side?
just get 3 container panels.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you going to keep the set of bleachers on that north side, or are you going to move it to the other side?
Well, could be determined, I guess.
What's that?
The bleachers on the north side.
Yeah.
I didn't know if that
We
got
should
added
still
on.
side.
Should have room.
You should have room, probably. Because that's 15 feet, maybe, more, for the bleachers. I'm just putting that out.
To be determined, I guess, on that.
Yeah.
Okay.
We do have some other bleachers that we've never went and got, but one more set. But anyway, hope they're still there.
Well, if there's no objection, I don't see a problem other than if you're just talking about the mechanical part of the fence.
Yeah.
We've made the decision a couple meetings ago, we don't want any electrical work done or anything without our being told beforehand. Because we want to do some inspections and stuff down there and make sure our liability issues are not exaggerated. So if you're just talking about moving the fence, nobody has any objection. I don't see
And
why
we put the
not.
lights up in front. Western Co-op's been real good about doing that stuff for us. So.
Okay. Sounds good.
Tom, when are you thinking about getting that done?
Hopefully by the fair.
Oh, okay.
So.
I take green light.
I'm gonna
Yep.
do it by next weekend.
I was gonna try to get it done before this week.
Yeah.
Anything else?
What was the sewer? Where was the sewer line concerned with the batting cage? Is that
We got the batting cage put where there's no services, so everybody's happy on that one.
Okay,
I don't think it goes that
it
far.
doesn't go that far? Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he's
No.
in charge of the arena is what he's asking.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Because there's your
No,
ball
should not be
diamond.
an issue there.
And here's your baseball diamond. Like that.
I'm just saying, keep
That's
in
really
mind,
kinda ran right
as you
through
look
that.
ahead, if you're thinking about additional lights or stuff, let us know before you do anything.
I don't,
So,
I don't
other than
think
that,
so.
sound like you gotta go.
I think
Sure
it
where
cuts.
the plan at.
I think it cuts further west.
Do we have to vote on it or anything?
Okay, that's all I have.
All right.
Thanks.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Tom. If you guys need anything, make sure you call us. That's okay.
Okay.
Let's skip B. Want to talk a little bit about trimming the right-of-way, trees over the streets, and even maybe in the alleys and stuff. Carrie, were you able to find out anything we had talked
We haven't got a
about?
call.
Hadn't got a call back.
Okay.
But where I called the foreman of the electric,
Right.
and he gave me the number and company that contracts for them, and nothing's been said back. But that'd be the way to go to contract. It'd be to go around and trim trees
Right.
and all that.
Well, Dean and I were looking at some of that when we were driving around this afternoon too, and my thought is if a property owner wants to trim the tree back on their own, they're more than welcome to do that, but I think it's imperative that we preserve our right of ways, so we'll do our due diligence and publish it or make an announcement so folks realize what we're getting ready to start on. Like I say, that way if even if they want to come tell us they don't want to mess with it and that they want us to do it. So, and in the meantime, if you could follow up on that or get back with us on the commercial company.
Yeah.
Okay.
To get quotes and stuff.
Yeah, just give us, it's kind of like where do you stop? So, anyway. All right. High school community service project.
So they are going to do, I don't have my calendar. Sorry. It's on Wednesday, April 24th is the day that they will have available, that they will have kids if we have something for them to do. So like I said, one of the things that we discussed was the softball bleachers could probably use another coat of paint. And then of course
We talked last fall about getting the inside of the baseball wall, the fence, the pipes, and the angle iron painted. But
They had talked to the fair board too and was wanting, and we had suggested we're gonna, if they got time, to redo the bleachers down there too. So, but if the other stuff needs done, that'd be not a problem either. So,
which bleachers?
the wood bleachers, like
the ones that are at the softball field.
Well, we didn't say anything about that, but I think they did them last year too, if I remember right.
I don't know.
I think
haven't-
Herring probably take a group over there to do that.
I think they painted them too while they were down there, but they did that.
Not the softball bleachers, but at the arena, yeah.
Yeah.
They were.
At the arena, they painted those.
Okay.
Basically, all the wood bleachers they painted that we had down there.
Except for Terry just said that you said the softball ones were not done last year.
Right,
Okay.
yeah. And
Well, they've been painted sometime, haven't they? Since they're white, aren't they?
yeah.
They've been painted sometime.
Oh, yeah, they've been painted before, but not last year. But they could be done. Anything that sits flat out in the open doesn't last very long.
Well, in essence, this is in lieu of our cleanup day. Years past, we've used the kids and did cleanup days, but as of right now, we have no plans for a formal citywide cleanup day like we have in the past. So I would say my thought would be have them paint the bleachers that are concerning sports since it's high school. And then, like say, if they can get that inside of the fence done, and then if they've got time, if they want to paint some more bleachers.
Yeah, that'd be fun. We were going to buy some. I think we were going to buy some paint. So.
Okay. Well, I know we thought that, having the inside those steel pipes and angle iron painted, because eventually that rust is going to bleed through that tin. So we had talked about having it spray painted and stuff, but turn a bunch of kids loose with some paint and get out of the way.
Hopefully they get more paint on the pipes
Yeah.
than themselves.
All right.
And I think we were going to buy 10 gallons of paint. I think that's what we did last year. So, see how
Okay.
that goes. Maybe I think we do more. I think we probably buy another 5 gallon if we wanted to.
Who's in charge of the roads down there?
Do what?
Who's in charge of the road that goes down to the ball?
We are.
Softball.
We are.
It's awful when it rains and it gets great big rust and people try to drive over on the side of the grass. it's a thought that you might consider
Now,
putting something.
Are you talking on the east side of the baseball field, going into the concession stand area?
And I'm talking about the girls softball team,
Right.
Road that drives people. It's very confusing. They'll park all which way over there, but the road that goes over to it is really rutted.
Right.
And a lot of water sets in those ruts, and then they're pulling over on
Well,
the
our-
grass. And I was just suggesting.
Yeah,
that you
yeah.
might consider
No, we can have
looking
Terry
into
look
this.
at it. And even in a good year, we've got such limited drainage there. I mean,
I know.
we can't change the topography
But
there.
it's really, it gets pretty bad. And,
Okay.
and it's one place that we have out-of-towners coming to. And, you know, it don't look very good when you have guests that are coming into
Right.
the community.
Okay. You want to put that on your list, Terry?
Yeah, I can. I mean, I will, because it's always been dirt. There's
Yeah.
never been a base there, or, you know.
Well, like I say, the thing is, we want to be careful that we do anything there. We might jeopardize what little bit of drainage we got. Because
Smooth it off and
it,
Yeah.
it's scary how little drop there is from there out to the highway.
make it smooth.
Anyway, all right.
It's pretty flat.
Summer baseball finances. Somebody here for that?
No, but then a bag.
No? Basically, the parents running the baseball, as you heard last meeting, they wanted to depart from Lincoln Rec and run it themselves. When they got to the point of having to open a checking account, the bank wants a personal number, and, you know, all of a sudden their Social Security shows money in and out, taxes, and asked if we could just run it through our general fund here. Jennifer didn't think it'd be too complex. You know, it's kind of a one-time deal. The parents pay their checks for the shirt, cap, and whatever. So it's money in, money out. So, anybody have any objections to that?
Jennifer, do you have any objections?
Check
No,
with
like
the
the
account.
only thing I did discuss with them is that means that they will have to write everything to the city of Sylvan, so that, and not to them.
Yeah.
I mean,
Okay.
so that it would come in and it would have to be dropped off here. So
We just need to be in contact with like Zach and Mary Ladd on all that stuff.
yeah,
Okay.
and like I said, I just told them it all needs to come through here because if it is our money, I have to handle it because I'm bonded.
Yeah.
So
Anybody have any objection to that? Okay.
Jennifer, have you talked to Zach and Mary?
yes,
Good.
yep,
And
and Josh.
Josh. I was going to say Josh would be the other one. How about Tommy Berger?
That is the one that he has. Usually he's been in. He hasn't been in here to talk to me yet, but I will get that.
Okay.
He will be.
Because I was going to say, those are the big three, I think.
Yep.
Okay. Fair housing proclamation.
There should be. There's one there. There's one there. You should have one in your stuff. The actual proclamation to sign. It should be on top. This is Fair Housing Month.
Proclamation celebrating 51 years of fair housing, City of Sylvan Grove. Whereas the City of Sylvan Grove is committed to the mission and intent of Congress to provide fair and equal housing opportunities for all, and today many realty companies and associations support fair housing laws. Obviously, it's something we've done time and again through the years. If nobody has any.
Do you need a motion on that, Jennifer?
I'd entertain one if you want.
I'll make a motion that we accept the, what do we call it? Kansas Fair Housing Act for the year of 2019. Because we do this annually.
Yeah.
Second.
A motion and a second to accept the Fair Housing Proclamation for 2019. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. Let's go to old business. Mr. Liker, would you like to come visit with us?
Sure.
You got mics? Do you have mics? No. Mic with
Yes.
Thank you again for the opportunity. Last month, I did address some issues and stuff about the ordinances and things like that. And one of the things that I've done since the last meeting was I've talked to neighbors, I've talked to former mayor, different people in the community, about ordinances and stuff. And I also had a meeting with Dean. Really appreciate the meeting, Dean, and I learned a lot from him about the mechanics, about compliance, some of the legalities and things like that. And there's other things I'd like to discuss, but tonight I'm not prepared to discuss any of those things. But one of the things that Dean did talk to me about was in Sylvan Grove, that the best that we can hope for when it comes to the ordinances is voluntary compliance. And I've been thinking about that even before he talked about that. But this voluntary compliance, one of the things that I thought that might be a benefit to some people is in this community there's probably some elderly, handicapped, maybe some that cannot financially afford to have ordinances and stuff, after they have an enforcement to clean it up and things of that nature. And so I would like to propose that I would like to volunteer to help those kind of people in conjunction with the committee, if it indeed is a legal thing for me to do. I don't know the legalities of it. I don't, I'm not an LLC. I'm not doing anything for profit. Depending upon how many volunteers that, I could get together, even if it's 2 or 3 people. My idea is to maybe start off with one place every quarter, or if it's not a huge job, maybe do one every 2 months, something like that, go in and the stuff that I'd be able to do, cutting saplings, cleaning up yards, removing junk, hauling stuff, there would be no cost incurred to the individual if that would be all right with the commission. So I offer that up as a to the community for my volunteer, and I just wanted to get your ideas and stuff on that.
Well, we appreciate that.
I think it's fantastic.
Just kind of go back a little bit in history along the same lines of what you're talking. We've had, as I mentioned earlier, formal citywide cleanup days, and we realized some people did not have the resources to move some trash, and we had a willing body of volunteers that filled our trucks time and again. And that all being said, obviously there's still people that probably find themselves in that predicament. Although I'd like to think that we've always held ourselves out to those individuals that if they will just come in and visit with us, make us aware that they don't have the resources to do that, one way or another we would help them out. And I appreciate you, being willing to come forward and do that. If you have no objections, that'd probably be something we want to talk about at a different time, but we'll surely take it under consideration and keep it in mind.
Okay.
And I appreciate you coming. I guess my question is, after visiting with Dean, do you I know the last time you were here, just considering the questions you were asking, were you able to realize that there is a process that we have to go through to take care of problems like you were bringing up last month?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, like I said, the meeting was very beneficial, and again, I thank him for that, to understand the mechanics of it, the politics of it, the legalities of things. There is a multitude of things that have to come together for that. It's just, Yeah.
Well, I would regret if people thought that, this is all just something new that I mean, this has been in the works for years,
Right. I'm new to Sylvan Grove, and that's
Right.
why I asked the questions,
Right.
because, I don't want to do anything out of ignorance, and so
Okay. Well, anybody have any questions for Rick?
I don't have any questions. I just appreciate your willingness to help. I mean, that's what we need to do as a community,
The only
is
thing
help each
I
other.
have a question about is if they're hurt on the job, what?
Well, he
Yeah, that-
kind of mentioned that, the liability issue, what might be involved, that's something we would need
Look into.
to look at. So, yeah, today's day and age,
Well, and I guess my question would be, would it be part, I guess, would you be doing it as you wouldn't necessarily be doing it as a representative of the city. You're volunteering as yourself. I mean, correct, right? Or
Well, this is what I talked to Dean about. It'd be something that would have to be done in conjunction with the city. In other words, not everything is transparent to the community. Some of the ordinances and stuff, or the violations and things like that. I don't know who has the access, but if the commission or the city knows of somebody who has a financial burden, a handicap, elderly that needs something done, whether general yard cleanup, tree cutting. I'm not licensed to do big trees, but saplings, it's another story and stuff like that. Even beating back weeds, cleaning back sidewalks, things of that nature. That all the little things that will help make a difference, in the long run. So.
like I say, we would need to visit about it, at another time, but we do appreciate your willingness.
But it would be, I would have to get my marching orders from,
Right.
the city
All right.
Okay. All right.
on who it would be and how, what the extent that they would want it to be done and stuff. So
Okay. Anything else?
that's for tonight. That's good.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dean.
Dean,
You want to talk to me tonight?
yeah, haven't seen you for a while.
Yeah. Well, I can just sit and wait, I guess. How much longer till you talk about some other stuff?
We're about done.
We're fucking it out.
Are you going to talk about that now?
Yeah, let's
Okay.
talk about that now.
All right. Report-wise, we are just kind of on the same place as we have been for a little while. We all know there's some violations, some issues out there need to be addressed. I'm ready to address them as we move forward, if that's council's decision. A sweeping, not really a broadsword, but equally and fairly, of course, with everyone. I would like to, on the record, state that here recently I've visited with Mr. Leiker and Mr. Ammons and Mr. Wehrman, of course, and pretty pleased today with some things. I will say, very pleased actually, and I would encourage council to, if you haven't, to maybe look at some of those things and factor some of that in possibly as whatever your decision may be. And
Dean and I took a little time this afternoon and made a citywide tour up and down alleys and stuff, trouble spots that we knew about. We found some stuff that we didn't know about a little bit, not a whole lot, but like Dean said, there was some activity going on. We're pleased to see. Obviously, it's not the end of it. It's hopefully just the beginning. I think what we saw, probably to my surprise or chagrin, was there's a few more of the isolated vehicles sitting around that I wasn't. And some of them do a pretty good job of tucking them back under the trees and stuff. So, but what I'd like to do is, Dean has a list compiled of folks that are in violation. Let him go ahead and serve notice. And if somebody has questions, they can come visit with us. But I think we need to move on and back him on this deal. He's done a yeoman's job of gathering the information for us, keeping it up to date and stuff. So if nobody has any objections, we'll tell Dean to proceed, and like we've always said, we'd hope someday he could work himself out of a job. So, anything from the council? Yes, sir.
I'd like to propose that the city offer some kind of screening or something, at least for businesses in town. I mean, there's some places where businesses have had stuff sitting around for 10 years, and then there's some places where, Clarence has had stuff sit out there for 60 days, and then it's fixed, and, I just don't think it's fair to put him or any other businesses in violation if they're working on stuff. And if it's screened or behind a fence of some kind and outside, I think that would take care of the entire problem.
So you're suggesting a screening for ongoing projects, so to speak?
If it's out of sight, out of mind, basically.
You used to have that, right? And you took it out of ordinance.
I don't think so. I don't think so. It's always been in a shed. Put it in a shed. We've had some individuals that thought fencing or screening was sufficient, and it just doesn't read that way.
When did that shed ordinance, when did that become?
Been on there as long as I've been here, Darren.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. I didn't know. Don't know what it says or doesn't.
Yeah, that's nothing new.
Okay. Okay.
So,
And then what kind of impact is this going to have money-wise on improving the town or not improving the town, or what's that? Or because otherwise up at my shed,
do what now?
That stuff sitting around generates so many dollars for the jobs it does.
Well, it does, Darren, and I'm just going to be honest with you. We're not going to get into this ongoing discussion tonight, what's business and what's not, okay? We've played that game for the last 4 meetings.
And it pays for so many house payments, so many car payments, so many wages.
That's understandable, and truth be that from way back when, I've always told you I understand an ongoing working shop has in and out and in and out.
Yep.
Understandable. But what I'm saying, or what I'm seeing today, is there's stuff that hasn't been moved for years. It's not an ongoing project, and that's what we're going to target to start off with. So, and the emphasis, like Dean said, is we're going to treat everybody alike. Everybody's going to get a letter. So
that's why I'm proposing you do something before you send out the letters. That way people...
I'm not going to delay the letters. He already has it compiled. We're going to do it.
But how long is the vehicle allowed to sit there then before it's in violation?
We'll determine that after the letters. The folks have
That's not really
10 days.
Fair. That's not fair to any business.
The ordinance states it's 30 days.
30 days.
I do engineering builds, and I used to end up having stuff at the machine shop for longer than 30 days.
So what's the point, Stephen? What are you?
Well, how do you fix it in 30 days if you're waiting on your block to get just vatted out and rebored, and you send it off and you put it on a waiting list, and you take a crank out to Dodge City for someone to look at the Caterpillar?
Once again, Darren, you're talking about ongoing projects, and I just said we're not going to have that discussion
I'm not
tonight.
suggesting anything about stuff that's sat around. I'm only suggesting you set something for the future, because I work.
We'll take it under advisement, but what I'm saying is if something's been sitting around and trees are growing up through it and around it and stuff, that's what we're going to start with, okay?
If it sat there for how long?
Because, irregardless of how long it's sat there, it's going to be addressed immediately, okay?
What if a vehicle shows up tomorrow for me to work on, and it's and you send out the letters, and you end up coming in and towing it before
But it wouldn't. If it came in tomorrow, you would have 30 days from the
But then people are
Hold
going
on,
to ask
let me
about
finish.
that.
But let me finish. You would have 30 days before you would ever receive notice on that vehicle, and from that point, there would be a time period for you to to abate that, to take care of that nuisance.
But that's also, like I said, that's where you need to make it so people can be in compliance and still do business.
Right. I'm just clarifying what the ordinance states. That's all.
I'm not trying to argue.
I'm just telling you, we always get distracted with this very discussion.
So do something this time about it.
Yeah, we are. Believe me.
Make it.
First thing is, he's going to send the letters out.
If you want businesses to be able to work on stuff or not.
Anybody have anything else?
Dean,
you got anything
be in
else?
favor of screening, some kind of allowance for businesses.
Yeah, I guess so. That's what I'm finding confusing here. saying that you want to have people come and live here and work and make money, and we got some stuff going on, and yes, it makes a little mess, and it makes a little complications, but I don't see cleaning this up, how money-wise that's going to generate any money for anybody to buy a house or buy a car or do anything.
You don't think cleaning up the junk vehicles that have been sitting around for years?
No, I do not think that will generate any money for anybody here in this town.
I moved in.
We're not in it to generate money. We're in it to preserve property values
I moved into my
for the
house.
for the folks that live next to it.
If you preserve property values, you got to have something going on. If you just keep on letting stuff slip away, you're not going to have any jobs here. You're not going to have any revenue.
You're depleting the
I
property
moved to
values
town
by
with
what you
Clarence is
have.
next door, and I'm not complaining about Clarence. I don't have a problem that he has junk out there. I think I wouldn't have stuff set out there for 20-something years, but I don't care. It's his property. I still live there. I wasn't going to be deterred by that. If I didn't want to live next to it, I wouldn't have.
But everybody might not have your open attitude.
But there's other houses.
There's other people that
There's other.
would make objection to it. Okay, it would
So
cause
why
them
don't
not
we pass
to.
some kind of law
All
to
right.
allow businesses to come
Yes,
to
sir.
work?
After reading the ordinances, like I said, I'm new to all this and everything, and after reading the ordinances, and I did speak with Stephen the other day, I told him, I said, it's nothing personal. This is city business and stuff, and everything that Stephen has in his yard, he could have it all, put it in a shed. I've got a 35 by 40 shed, and you know what's in there? Junk. I've got my stuff in a 35 by 40 shed because that's what the ordinance says, that, if you want to hold something for 30 days, 45 days, whatever the case may be, put up a shed and
So as far as
put it in there.
appeasing you were in your last meeting not wanting someone to build a business across the road from you. So if I go build a huge metal building back there, are you going to be displeased with that as well?
That's according to the
But are
ordinances.
you?
A business
Well,
is something
complain.
else.
Well, you'd be displeased with it. Yes, that's the...
Well, the thing about it is, it does, what they're saying, that it doesn't deplete the property values, but it does. I can't sell my place right now for what I want for it, because nobody's going to want to look outside in the morning and see a beautiful sunset and see the stuff that's sitting there. We were looked at a house across town when we came to town, and we didn't want to look at that, so we went somewhere else. So it does devalue, and it does deter people from buying homes in this town.
Why didn't you buy my house when it was for sale before I bought it?
Because it was too low.
Dean, do you have anything else?
No, I don't have anything else. Like I said, I just appreciate
Okay.
one way or the other, whatever council's direction is, and that.
Does anyone have any objections with letting Dean go ahead? Okay,
Okay.
we'll get together on that. Although I do not want to overlook the fact that we saw some very impressive activity today.
I would agree with that.
But like I said, it's a start. It's by no means the end of it. So I want to be
why we
upfront
have
with
the chance,
people.
Why don't we make some kind of ordinance to allow...
Because, Stephen, we just don't make ordinances like that. We have to discuss them.
So
You know,
why don't we
we'll take
discuss
it under advisement.
Every of the last 4 meetings, you've said you don't want to talk about it and you've put it off. Honestly, you sit up there and you kind of boss all the council members around.
Yep, I'll agree with
Not
that.
only don't let them talk,
They haven't said a word.
you sit up there and boss them around, and your job is to hold the meeting. It's not to tell them your opinions and what they should do.
Actually, everybody at this table can express their opinions.
Yes, they can.
Yeah?
But you sit up there and you boss everyone around. You tell them you won't want to do stuff. You want to put it off. It's not the time for it. It's never the time for it. Why is the time not now?
Okay.
Why don't we have a discussion about it
I
right
got
now?
better things to do than sit here. I don't want to talk about this for an hour every meeting. I mean, we've talked about it,
You don't
talked
have
about
a
it, and
business
run
that
around, run
affects.
around. I mean,
You don't have a
that's-
business that affects
that's
stuff.
that's the ordinance. That's the way it's written. Until somebody can change it.
Well, do we want to change it then?
Yeah.
Well, nobody
Right, all the
said
time
nobody
to change
said that it couldn't be changed, but it's just not going to happen like that.
Well,
Okay?
Why can't we work on it right now? 5-10 minutes of discussion about it. Not you sitting
I
up there
guess-
telling them not to do it.
Yeah, I guess to me, I do not understand it. Everybody says they want to have more people, but you got to make jobs. And the only way you're going to make jobs is to have
The thing I find most amazing.
You'd have to give us something that shows how much business you bring to town, how
I
much
tried
money
to
you
show that
contribute.
one meeting. I brought down payroll, $75,000. MHW has so much of a payroll. It works out my shed. Steve has so much of a payroll. But you guys don't want to talk about
You
it.
got to have stuff sitting out that's not moved for 2 years to be able to do that.
There are pieces or parts or money sitting there. There is.
See, I've only lived here for 6-7 months, and that's why I'm finding this important. I just bought a shop building over in Lucas.
Let's move on to the financial report. Thank you, Dean.
Everything else for me?
We're good.
Okay.
Rest of that.
Yeah, we can talk about that. That's one item we went over.
Sorry. This is my fault.
As you know, a couple months ago, we talked about looking into purchasing one of the graders that the county has that they want to sell. They came back with a price for $30,000, which is substantially more than what the number that was bandied about when I visited with the commissioners. But at that point, they were still waiting to have an appraisal. So, but in the meantime, to our benefit, it seems there's been a lot of interest generated. Folks found out that we might be getting rid of our grader, and I will dare say the numbers that have been bandied about for that are about double what we expected. So we still need to revisit whether or not our budget would support making that expenditure. So
Financially, I think it's possible over time we couldn't make over the course of the year, and I know that the commissioners were willing to negotiate on us making payments. I think if we spread it out over the year, we can probably do that amount, especially if we also sell our grader. And I know I talked to Michael O'Hare. They have two available, a Komatsu or a Cat. The Cat is a little bit older, but from the information I've gathered, I think that's the way you'd want to go, is with the Caterpillar grader. You wouldn't. Komatsu has some issues. I think that's one of the reasons they're getting rid of it, even though it's about 10 years newer. I had trouble finding some really comparable Komatsus, but the Cats, similar. They were kind of between 60 and 70,000 if you were. So I feel like the 30,000 is really fair.
Thing about this particular Cat, it's the one that was local here that Larry and Gary both ran for years, and we have the history on it, and even the county is recommending probably the Cat would be the better option. And I think I shared with you after I had visited with the commissioners, they had tossed out the possibility of us trading our grader to them, and then they would go ahead and sell it on Purple Wave. But that was before these numbers were generated. So I think we kind of want to revisit that, whether we want to give them our grader for a set amount off of the purchase price of their grader, or if we want to sell it ourselves. So, and like I say, this is the first correspondence we've had back from the county since I went and visited with them. Things aren't quite so imminent right now. I guess it is maybe supposed to snow this weekend a little bit, but back when we had that discussion, it looked like it was going to be a bearable winter, but things just haven't moved along that fast. So if you guys like, we can get more particular information. Jennifer can get a little more specific
Basically,
on the budget.
If I need to, if I need to go to the commissioner meeting and discuss what their proposal would be, if they for sure are going to accept this price, and if they would be willing to do payments, I can do that before we move forward. I don't know.
Okay.
Is that?
Does anybody have any questions they'd like to have asked of the
Hours or anything?
He didn't have specific hours for me, but he can get it, so I can have that information. He was supposed to look it up, but he didn't have it when we talked. So.
Well, then it should
Are they still in use, both of them, or is it?
No, the county purchased new ones.
So they're just sitting, so they shouldn't be changing them.
Yep.
Their intention when we visited with them was to put them on Purple Wave this spring. I don't know if they're still.
No.
I know they haven't, but if they're still going to.
I I think
Or
that's
if we
basically
have a
it's
time,
based,
like a deadline, if we want it, we need to let them know.
I would say yes. If we're serious about it, then I need to go and actually have a discussion about if that's a possibility.
Okay.
Do we need a motion?
I can have a discussion, and then if we decide for sure to purchase, we can go ahead at that
I'd
point.
say definitely go ahead and
We'll just have, like say, let Jennifer get the specifics. She can report back to us. We don't necessarily have to wait till the next meeting. If we have to, we may end up having a special meeting anyway. So, anything else that I might have missed?
Do you want to do this, or do you want to?
If you want to just give us a report on it.
On the financial report, or do you
No,
want
on
to
the
do?
summer help, just that we have had some applications.
We have some applications to look at. Not much else I can say.
That we probably ought to do in executive session. Last item on the bottom there, anything from the council? Will?
I can't think of anything to do.
Ryan?
It's not very important, but something I did ask Jennifer about the other day. I know other surrounding communities have it as far as the Facebook page. I asked her about it, and we don't currently have anything.
I thought we had a website.
At one time we had a website.
That Adam was working on, right?
Yeah, the website has never. But there has been some major complications with working with Wilson Telephone Company. They had some people quit. You would think that would be simple. It's not. It's not as simple as I feel like it should be. But Adam Peckham was working on that. Nothing has progressed on the website, and now it's completely down at this point.
But that was a website, not a Facebook page.
Right.
Yeah.
But the Facebook page could be
know,
in use if it weren't.
As an example, I know Lucas has one, and they put like their dog clinic on it. They put,
right.
Your summer help advertising, as far as that goes, you can put it out and reach a lot more people, I think. As far as some of that stuff goes, just more informational is, I guess, what I was looking at it as.
Because you can make the Facebook page where it's not comments, it's just information
Yeah,
that goes
right,
out.
right.
It only presents. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't know what
Jennifer, are you
other
a
thoughts.
Facebooker?
No, when I originally started making the city's page is when it's the first time I ever used Facebook. But then at that time, but that doesn't matter.
I just thought I'd bring it up.
I can do that.
Yeah. No, it's
If
good.
there was ideas or
So do you want me to do that?
input, one way or the other.
I'm not a Facebooker. I don't know what it takes to set up a page.
It's kind of
Not
like a
much.
sign. You just put stuff out there.
Yeah.
It would be basically like the digital bulletin board we have, only, you're reaching everybody that would like it or follow it on
Yeah,
Facebook.
if they follow it, then it just
Yeah,
it's on
then
their
it comes
list
up in
and
the
they click
feed.
it right
Yeah.
up.
Jennifer, would you be interested in doing that?
Well, I actually created a page, but I haven't used it because I didn't know.
What, I don't know.
Well,
JC, do you know anything
I was
about
going to
it?
say, do we need a teenager
No.
on this
I
one?
never use Facebook.
That's for old
Well,
people.
you're definitely an anomaly.
It's not Snapchat,
I like
Instagram,
the
Twitter.
the Twitter page where they like put
Right.
stuff out. Notices and things like
Right,
that.
right.
Cancellations or whatever. So,
I can use whatever media
Yeah.
that anybody wants me to use. So
Okay. I'll give her some time to
Okay.
wrap her brain around it.
it's more like, do you want me to? You just say yes, and then I will do it. Okay, yes.
Ryan, you got anything?
I have some thoughts in process real quick. I'm trying to get my ducks in a line. If you want to go to Jackie, I can go after her.
Well, I guess I want to address the audience. And Steve is not bullying us into our decisions that we make. I believe we make the best decisions we can for our community. That's why I'm here anyway, and I know that's why everybody else is here. We're not trying to hurt anybody's business in any way, shape, or form. it's just a little bit about a pride thing, how nice the community looks. I totally agree with people, I'm sorry how things look. It matters to people. Maybe not everybody, but some of us. So we're not doing anything out of spite for anybody. We are just trying to do the best for the community to make it look nice, have people come, want to stay.
But then, Jackie, just looking nice, does that pay any bills? Does that generate any money?
Yes, it does.
How?
If I drove through a town that looked nice, I would probably stop at your convenience store and get a drink. If I see junk everywhere, I'm going to say that's an abandoned town and leave.
Okay, well, every day.
So no, I'm not probably going to stop at yours, but I may stop at somebody else's because they took time and got everything cleaned up. That's just what I'm saying.
Well, I'm just saying every day we got so many guys that walk to the convenience store, we get a snack, eat dinner, whatever.
Well,
and they make car payments, house payments, and I mean, I don't know how else to say that. I mean,
like I said, I'm not against you guys having a business at all. That's not the point of this whole thing.
And that's been there for a long time. Now all of a sudden we're up to change it. I don't understand.
And I can understand the stuff that's been there a long time, but that's why I'm asking you if you're going to enforce that to just do something also at the same time to allow businesses to at least be able to do their work and not feel like they're in violation all the time.
Because I think this deal of looking nice and people just to spend money, I think that's just a pipe dream.
That is your opinion?
Yep, that's my opinion.
And my opinion is it needs to look
What about
nice.
the people that come and buy stuff from me?
So. I don't know.
Which business would you rather?
Well, it probably depends what I need.
That's what we just got done told.
Do you have anything else, Jackie?
No, like I said,
Thank
if you think it's easy, you guys run for council next time.
JC, you got anything? No. Okay. Terry, you want to come give us a report?
Yeah.
Let's see. Asked about for ballpark insurance purposes on, like if the water building were to something happen to it, and like if the down at the lift station, if it were to fill in with water and take out the control panels and all that. The people from Ellis has never got back with me on the water plant, but I've got ballpark figure for insurance purposes if material were to fill in and you had to replace the control panels and the pumps and stuff like that on the lift station. And they're supposed to come tomorrow for their yearly inspect of the lift station, and there's some stuff that I need to talk to them about. There's something bouncing back and forth on one of the pumps that just can't get shot on through, and it hangs it up sometimes not, to see if it's got to be pulled or not, that type of thing. But it's not a special trip for them, it's their yearly thing, because this just started happening like this last month, and it's not all the time. Something's hanging up. But I've got that. There's just one copy. That was just interesting. On that, nothing's got back on the tire refurbishment. There's nothing been said on that. The testing process, that's still in process. Be going to a few seminars. I did pass the small system test thing the other day when I went to Wichita, so we're now like compliance as far as the water side. We're not operator in training, actually, the McCoy now.
Good deal.
So,
all right.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you, or you're welcome. Yeah, it was kind of a surprise for me. But either you pass or you don't. You pass, that's all. So we're good on that. Streets, I know
kind of have a plan there if the budget just isn't there for like the hard surface streets. I was thinking about tearing into the oiler and seeing if it will start up, work, run, and then if we can like if we got to talk about it down the road, like get quartzite rock where we clean out what got rutted up, because everything's been so soft and wet this year, and we've actually experienced a real winter where you can like scrape out, fill in with quartz, and then oil it, or actually oil it first and then quartzite in your ruts. So those streets, yeah. And then the rock streets, I know just whenever they're in the area to bring the limestone native rock for the rock roads. That's cool. And then how much of it I can get.
How's your gravel pile?
I need whatever I can get.
We've discussed it with them. Right now they're hauling sand.
Yeah, I know.
Because I know some of the, like, if we need to truly like start grading the roads, that's great. But there's like no, and just depends on how much material I can get and start that. So,
While you're visiting with us, I'm glad you mentioned streets. That's something I wanted to talk to council about. Our 2 streets we had refurbished here just a few years ago. For whatever reason, the shoulders really took a pounding this winter. Lots of soft spots showing up and stuff, and because of the fact that we got a huge grant to do that, they do keep an eye on us, how we take care of those streets. Year after we did it, they reminded us that we do have to keep them in good repair. So obviously now's not the time to worry about oiling and packing and stuff, but I think we're going to have to resign ourselves to the fact that we're going to have to do some kind of maintenance, at least on those outside, probably 8 foot. I don't know, it seemed like everywhere you go, it's the one past Presbyterian Church and then the next one back north. And just all along there, they're really just taking a beating. So I don't know why they loosened up. It's not like we had a tremendous amount of snow piled on them for a long time.
From what I've noticed or seen, it looks like we're kind of where the maintainer ran, really rutted it up or destroyed the edge of the street. I don't know.
I don't know. There's spots though, Ryan.
That's kind of what
it's just like the bottom fell out of it. I mean,
it's soft underneath for some reason.
Yeah. I just, like I say, we just need to be aware of that. We're held accountable because that was grant money that we used for that. So I'd rather look proactive and, as opposed to have somebody show up and say, hey, we gave you that money and you let it go to pot. So for whatever reason this year, it just really shows up bad. Like I say, we've had moisture before and stuff, but the bottom didn't fall out of the shoulders like that. So we need to get with Terry and just kind of devise a plan of action one way or another, whether it be have the county come in and just do an 8-foot section or whatever, or visit with the contractor that did it initially. But I think we at least need to visit about it. So back to you.
Just summer help.
We'll talk about that.
Okay. Otherwise, that's about all I have or can think of, other than you can see what's going on in here with volunteers.
I thought you painted this.
No.
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 Mrs. Liker did.
Thank you.
It really looks nice.
It does.
I walked in this morning and told Jennifer, I said, I don't like the color, and she had this look on her face. It's like, no, I'm just kidding. That, and if you guys really want to wow, before you leave, just stick your head through that door and look at the library. That's just amazing. So, anyway, we're thrilled with that.
Since you mentioned that, she wanted me to make sure and mention that they will have an open house on April 24th from 3 to 7 for the library.
What day is that?
Wednesday?
What was the time frame?
3 to 7 p.m. 24th.
Did the school get done with their roof? Have they vacated?
Yes.
I think, yeah.
I think so, because I know, like the other day, let's see, last week, I think it might have been Thursday, that they cleared out the back of the shop with what they had left over, gave me I asked for the good pallets, that way that could replace some of the older pallets down on the pallet pile. So they're out and gone as far as taking up a little bit of space, storing their stuff where they didn't want their stuff freezing while they were doing the roof for the school. So, yeah. Any other questions?
Just an FYI, we did have a couple substantial snowstorms and stuff, and it was really nice to have that heated shop, have the payloader over there and the little tractor, and it did make a difference when we got ready to start pushing the snow and stuff. So Terry's done a really good job of organizing that over there.
Yeah, there's always been something to do, and it does make it nice to work on stuff inside of a building.
Okay.
But if you gotta work outside, you work outside.
Anything else?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
Unless you got any questions, because usually when there's bills, that's when, oh yeah, by the way, I did X, Y, Z,
Okay.
I
Well, I'd like to see us go in executive session for property supply.
I'll have to replace that.
How many
15
do we
minutes.
have to look at?
3.
15
Can I make
minutes.
a comment before you go?
Yep.
I'm here to complain.
Okay.
We've done talk with you. How you feel, but I want something that could be done about Toby and Holly's manure. He hauled it down our street and it dropped off, and I just think there's got to be another way, a better way of doing that. I understand, I really understand that he has to have a problem there to haul his cow manure on. But it doesn't have to be put on our streets, our main street. It was all full of that cow manure. Can he put it in something that's taller so it doesn't fall off the side? And maybe get a vehicle that hasn't been in the lot that he can drive down our street. The way my street is now, he drove down that, and then it rained. City come along and graded it. All that stuff is graded up under our mailbox. And every time we drive on those roads, that manure comes up into our tires. We drive it into our driveways. It just seems to me like there should be something, other alternative that he could do than just dropping it on our streets.
Well, as it stands right now, we're limited on what we can, it's a public street.
Right.
And I understand your concern.
Right. But I just wanted...
In Toby's defense, the night that you called me, I went and visited with him, and he quit, Granted, there was already a mess, and I know 15, 20 hundredths of rains, that road was dry, things were pretty good till it rained.
Right. And we've protected that road. I mean, we
Right.
don't have a lot of travel on it, and you guys have done an excellent job of keeping it graded. But, when you're going down there and putting cow poop on it, it's ruining it.
I know.
So, I'm just
But like I say,
to express my...
There's a limit to what we can do as things stand right now, okay?
But I don't want you to try to work on something that, you don't like. You talk about having our town look beautiful for people to come in. They're going right around Main Street, and that's not a beautiful thing to look at and smell.
Or cow trailers parked on the road, or...
Yep. I'm done.
Thank you.
And I'm sorry.
No.
I just wanted to say my 3 cents.
All right.
Thank you.
Anything else from council? If not, entertain a motion to go into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss unelected personnel.
And we can go to executive session for 15 minutes to discuss something else.
I'll second.
Have a motion and a second to go into executive session for 15 minutes to discuss unelected personnel. I stay, right? I
Yeah.
stay. Yeah,
It concerns you, so yeah, you need to.
With Terry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At what
With
time are we
Terry as
going in?
president.
No,
At 8:06?
no offense. I don't know the answer to the question. This is the first time we've
Oh,
had
you
this.
did, yeah, you did it.
You gotta go. Okay. I would like to make a motion to hire Jonah Hill as City of Sylvan summer help at minimum wage, starting at minimum wage.
Second thought.
How do you spell Hill?
Huehl.
I have a motion and a second to hire Jonah Hill as summer help. Any other discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion, or pose same sign. Motion carries. You want to do financials? I just want you guys to know I appreciate your attitude.
I appreciate Jackie stepping up there. That's cool.
Okay, income for March, 20,358.84. Expenses, 17,806.43. Any questions? We will, this coming month on the warrants or anything, we will pay the insurance, and the insurance ended up being basically almost the same, I think $4 difference after all of the changes.
Okay.
So,
And we have increased coverage, basically.
yes, and we have increased coverage on the things we wanted, although we had, some decrease in other
Yeah.
things. So,
No.
added all the things that we talked about last month. So, Marshall was very pleased with that.
So, I guess there is a warrant list, isn't there?
Yeah. Yep. This is part of it. There you
Yeah.
go.
It's been Monday, all day long.
And I was going to say, on the wages, I always just put about what our averages are because until we actually have
That's fine.
I just wanted to clarify, that's why it's not exact on those because until we get the hours.
Anybody have any questions?
I'll make a motion we accept financials.
Second.
Moved and second to accept the financial report as presented. Any discussion? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion carries.
Jennifer, I have a original question on this piece of paper.
Yes. I'm so glad you mentioned that. David wanted to make a point of me telling every one of you about that training and making it available to you, and that he encourages everyone. My understanding is I'm going to probably be wrong when I say this, but FEMA requirements are that elected officials take some form of training.
Yeah,
I
see it.
know.
It's
Right.
called
So-
NIMS.
Yeah. I know I did mine, or at least part of mine. I have some more to do.
Is
Do you know anything about that? I feel like there's one other paper talks about. There should have
You
been.
can go to the FEMA website.
Is
and
there
do the
anything
100,
available as
200.
far
Yeah.
as like we could have somebody come here, we could gather here?
That's
Or-
the thing about that. That is
That's
in
in
Lincoln.
Okay.
That was why he was highlighting that. They're having someone come
Well,
in.
just so you guys know, worst case scenario, we get hit by a tornado or something. As city council and mayor, we're expected to. You guys, you think I'm bossy now? But I'm just saying, that's the mayor's part of the job. So it might not hurt to just at least get some basic
Incident command.
I don't know. There's times, like I said, beauty of being in a small community. We're all on so many different things. Fire department. It's like
The other thing
what
is,
hat
Ryan,
what hat are you wearing?
Pierre, do you have credentials? I know each one on the council should have. You do.
What's that?
Those credentials that David Doe.
These.
Oh yeah, for the fire department I do.
Okay, I think, but I don't know that
Yeah,
you
but are
do.
them things change so quick?
Oh my goodness.
Let's hear.
Yeah.
But I will need you to get with David and have credentials.
Well,
In the event of a major catastrophe and something were to happen, if you had your credentials, then you would be allowed.
you can come into town, like if they've got town shut off.
Yeah, because honestly, if you're out of town and, you know, FEMA steps in,
Well, I got to be honest
you
with you,
can't get in.
I know
Unless you
it's
have
been over a year
credentials.
since I did my fire department, but one time we did one here.
Yeah. David came in and took pictures.
I can ask David to come back at a
Yeah.
council
Yeah,
meeting,
why
just do
don't
it
you
really
do
quick.
that?
That would be
Yeah.
the easiest way.
So when is this training here?
I don't know. Do you have credentials, Terry?
For what? What's?
No.
He's on the fire department, so he does.
Yeah, but,
Oh.
but I know we haven't done it since he's
Okay.
joined or
Oh, yeah.
been on.
So I'll just have him. That's the fastest way to do it. He'll take
Yeah,
a
it
picture,
is.
do everything.
Do it right here.
Okay.
So back to my question, what is the
Sorry.
date on that?
April 29th.
And that's at Lincoln Park Manor.
Yes.
Yes.
Is it at 7 o'clock?
From
That's a
What's that,
Monday.
1 to 4?
That's a Monday.
Or 1 to 5?
5.
Oh, it's a Monday?
1 to 5.
Yes.
1300 to 1700.
Well, I'm not going. Sorry.
Wonder if it's such you can
Or is it,
pick up in midstream, like if you can't get there till 3 o'clock, and at least get a couple. You know what I'm saying?
I can ask
is that
him.
the day after Easter Sunday?
No,
No.
Sunday is the 21st, or Easter's 21st.
But that's a Monday?
Yes, the 29th is Monday.
We don't have school.
On the 29th?
On the 29th?
Yeah.
No school?
Because we have Good Monday. I don't know what
That's not Good Monday.
Oh, that's 22nd. I'm a week off.
Yeah.
This
Okay.
is on the 29th.
Okay.
Easter's on the 21st.
All right.
It would be a good Monday then.
You need something to make Mondays good.
All right, anything else?
What else we got on our
Just
page?
so you guys know, Rhonda had the same mindset as you guys, so I appreciate, I guess she had a conflict maybe, but anyway, all right. Motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Nobody will second
I
yet.
second.
You else want to go home?
We are adjourned.
So